This is Anglia.
Anglia news this Christmas Eve comes from Castle Ashby in Northamptonshire.
The stately home that offers the traditional English Christmas, complete with all the trimmings. Hello and good evening from me, Stephen Chambers, and Caroline Oldry.
Merry Christmas and welcome to the splendid surroundings of Castle Ashby near Northampton.
Now then, need a last minute gift? Well, how about treating yourself, family and friends to the ultimate Christmas present? This stately pile. Yes, it's for hire, complete with staff and all the seasonal trimmings, but at a price.
Castle Ashby, home for more than 400 years to the Earls of Northampton. Like many stately homes, the house became badly run down in the latter part of this century, and the family has had to develop its commercial potential in order to keep it. In the 80s came a 5-year deal with Ford Motor Company. Their high-tech temporary exhibition centre caused much local controversy, but enabled essential renovation to transform the house into a luxurious corporate entertainment venue. Guests have included Tom Cruise and Maggie Thatcher and the boards of many a blue-chip company. Although firmly rooted in the past, the estate has had to adapt. Now Castle Ashby is registered for marriages. And if you'd like to spend Christmas here, the 28 bedrooms are at your disposal with all the traditional Christmas trimmings for only £45,000 plus VAT.
Well, unless the right lottery numbers come up, most of us can only dream. But we hope to start your Christmas in style.
Yes, we'll be entertained by the All Saints Choir and the prize-winning Bradwell Silver Band.
Now, it's often said that the Victorians invented Christmas as we know it today.
Happy Christmas to you all, but I'm not amused.
We find out how they really celebrated the season.
As we start our celebrations today, spare a thought for the people of Ghana, who Steve has been visiting with charity workers from the region.
And nearer to home, as you prepare your Christmas feast, some decidedly indigestible tidbits from the festive table.
All that to come, but first we go back to the studio for the main news of the day and a preview of the Christmas sporting fixtures with Tim Curtis and Stuart Gerald.
Hello, yes, sport with Stuart in a minute, but first the news. And 15 cars were wrecked when a lorry left the road and careered across a garage forecourt. The accident happened at Thorney near Peterborough.
It looks like a breaker's yard now. This is the trail of damage done by the lorry as it smashed into the garage. Almost all the cars on sale crushed and mangled, and it's not the first time it's happened.
We had this in October with another vehicle that ploughed into our forecourt. We've already been in contact with the local councillors this morning. They've both come down and seen this mess. They need to sort out this chicane up here, preferably a bypass.
A person sitting in one of the cars was injured. The lorry driver from Lancaster was also hurt.
Milton Keynes Council has withdrawn notices sent to 2,000 staff last week, giving 90 days' notice that their contract would be renegotiated. Many employees felt they were being made redundant, but council leader Kevin Wilson said the intention was always to harmonise pay and conditions, not to make people redundant. Chris and Iris Maynard got married today for the second time. They first married 52 years ago and lived together even after they were divorced. Today the family celebrated a wedding, a birthday and a Christmas all in one.
4 generations came to celebrate the ultimate Christmas treat for Chris and Iris Maynard, who first said "I do" to each other 52 years ago. But 15 years ago they said "I don't" and got divorced. Now, on Chris's 74th birthday, it's back with new wedding rings.
Oh, it's much more lovely, isn't it?
It's gone very well.
Yeah, it's like the song the second time around.
They now have 2 marriage certificates, but are adamant that there'll be no divorce this time. And every generation of the family is backing them up. Linda Fairbrother, Anglia News, Milton Keynes.
Good story. Roads around the region have been very busy today and there have been several accidents in the rain. The AA has reported heavy traffic on all motorway routes. The A1 has been particularly busy between Cambridge and Peterborough. Police say people have been driving too fast for the conditions.
Sport now, and as always, it's a working Christmas for the professional football and rugby players in our region. Some jolly Christmas music to accompany our festive fixtures, starting in the First Division. where Ipswich can overtake their old regional rivals Norwich in the table if they win both their games. Norwich with a 12 noon start at Charlton on Boxing Day. The second division's main attraction is on Boxing Day, the regional derby, Luton against Northampton. And on Sunday, Northampton have a 12 noon start at home to Walsall. In Division 3, kick-off times are all over the place. Cambridge, 12:30 on Boxing Day against Orient. Peterborough, 12 noon at Barnet. Otherwise, it's 3 o'clock where we haven't indicated an earlier time. And the Peterborough manager, Barry Fry, now gives us an insight into a footballer's Christmas.
Well, I'm so old, I remember the good old days when we used to play Christmas Day and Boxing Day. But no longer. But it's still an heavy time of the year for players and officials of football clubs. I mean, there's no holiday for us. I mean, we've got to train. We train Christmas Day, I always do. I take the players away on Christmas night, keep them in an hotel, because to be quite honest, they're only normal. If they're amongst their families, they eat too much, they drink too much, and you know, they come out and play very poorly. So we try to be professional, we try to entertain the public. Sometimes when I see us play on Boxing Day, I wish I'd let them go out on the you-know-what the night before, because they'd have played a lot better. But it is a festive period of time. The crowds are normally up over the Christmas period, so it's important that we give of our best and entertain the public, because you never know, they might come back for more.
Let's hope so. Well, the rugby men of Northampton and Bedford have been training today. That's in preparation for Saints' Saturday visit of Wasps, the current Division 1 champions, while Bedford travel away to the second division's bottom club, and that's Fylde. Now, one of you out there has a big surprise to come this Christmas.
Yep, you are blissfully unaware of the fact that you have won thousands of pounds.
Now, does this sound like you? You placed a bet on a football accumulator at Corals in Wisbeach.
You think you lost because one of the teams you backed got beaten.
What you don't know is that the losing game between Albion Rovers and Arbroath was later declared void. And that means you did win, after all.
So pop along and pick up your winnings. £41,000. Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
Welcome back to Castle Ashby near Northampton.
And this is how the people of Bradwell in Milton Keynes will be woken at, would you believe, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, Christmas morning.
It's a tradition that was started by the Bradwell Silver Band, and they've kept it up every year without fail since they first formed way back in 1901.
And very nice too. Well, it's the Victorians we have to thank for many of our current Christmas traditions. They printed the first Christmas cards, introduced Christmas trees, started to promote tinsel, and generally set the ball rolling towards the highly commercialised consumer festival we know today.
Penny Wright, though, has been recreating that Victorian era with the help of Queen Victoria herself.
Welcome to the Chiltern Open Air Museum. We've gone back in time today. Everybody's looking very Victorian because we're celebrating a Victorian Christmas, and there's a very special VIP here.
The Chiltern Open Air Museum recreates old buildings by moving them brick by brick to the site.
We are not amused.
Well, Christmas for the Victorians was a very important time of year. Life could be very austere, families were large with little to go round. So one of the most important things was having lots to eat at Christmas, and of course, because there were so many children, families between 8 and 13 children, sweets were very important, but not always a very good idea.
No. Children would be able to buy sweets like this from street hawkers who were very unscrupulous and who would not worry about dyeing it with verdigris, which is a deadly poison, and with vermilion, which is not poisonous itself, but often enhanced with red lead. Concoction like that would not be very good for you.
Meanwhile, these three gentlemen in stovepipe hats were trying a little flattery to cheer up Her Majesty. But did it work?
We are still not amused.
These travelling players were keen to catch the eye of their queen, but...
Well, I'm now in the old library, the private quarters of the family, and Lord Compton, who's just taken over the management of the estate, is with me. How does it feel to be a custodian of such a grand place?
A burden, a responsibility. You feel that people are expecting you to come up with the goods, and inevitably that's what I want to do. I want to make sure I get it right. It'll take time.
Well, this has been a family home, your family's home, for generations. So how does it feel to have to open it up to the public and rent it out, in effect?
I think it's what it was built for in 1600s was actually to entertain Queen Elizabeth. I'm all for that. I think it's very important to be. It's nice to see it's continuing to be used in that manner. The fact that people can come round the house on specific tours is great, because I think it's part of our heritage. It's it's part of England. If they can get as much enjoyment out of it as I have, all the better. It's great, and I'm all for that.
Lord Compton, thank you very much indeed. Now, Christmas is a time for giving, but imagine if the best present that you could give your child was just a clean glass of water. Steve Chambers and our cameraman Gary Maybe have been out to northern Ghana to find out what a difference people from this region are making over there.
We clean our teeth with it, wash our cars with it, and allow gallons of it simply to gurgle down the plug hole. But what we in this region take for granted and waste on Christmas Day every day, others cherish as the most precious gift of all. Christmas is traditionally, of course, a time for the giving and receiving of gifts. I suspect, though, that there are few Christmas presents that will be more valued this year than the one that they've already received in this village in the Bolgatanga district of northern Ghana. It's been paid for by contributions from people in the Anglia region. It's nothing fancy, it's not even gift wrapped. But for the community here, and particularly the kids, it is quite literally the gift of life, a clean water well. This is one of 1,200 hand-dug wells the charity WaterAid plans to install in northern Ghana over the next 3 years. Using equipment bought with money raised by water industry workers and customers throughout East Anglia, its prime aim is to reduce an infant mortality rate almost 20 times that of the UK, in an area where 2 out of 3 people still draw their water from disease-ridden ponds like this, as they have done for centuries. But with the wells comes a whole new way of life. Here in this village, watched by WaterAid's Eastern Region Chairman and Anglian water manager Glynis Hammond, WaterAid trained instructors direct villagers in a play illustrating the need for hygiene when handling their newly acquired clean water.
It centres on basic health education. A few years ago, when we started to fund projects, we discovered that it's all very well giving them good, clean, fresh water, but if afterwards they don't wash their hands, or they wash their dishes in the sand, or they allow the animals to drink from the same water, obviously we're just making the question worse. So an awful lot of what we're doing here is very basic stuff.
Improved health aside, what Anglia region donors to WaterAid are really giving to northern Ghana is much more than just the buckets and spades needed to build the wells. It's a Christmas present for life, a gift that offers the prospect of freedom. Because without a well and having to walk up to 8 hours a day to get water from an infected river or borehole, for many youngsters there simply isn't time for the education that most Ghanaians recognise is their only hope for the future. Even sitting 3 to a desk and having to share pencils and exercise books, these children at least stand a chance. They say Christmas is a time of magic for kids. Thanks to WaterAid, its donors, and the gift of a well, nowhere is that more true than here in Bolgatanga.
Well, from Christmas present to Christmas past. After the break, we'll be meeting the medieval mummers from Moulton, the man who tried to ban Christmas, and we'll be finding out more about the oldest room in the house.
Don't miss Boxing Day at DFS. All over Britain, thousands more people will be able to save in the double discount sale. Not only is everything reduced, everything's free for a year too. Take 3 years free credit and pay nothing for the first year. We're even doubling the sale discount on many items.
This leather settee is only $598. This settee is only $499.
Sale prices, double discount, 3 years free credit, and everything free for a year. That's Boxing Day at the DFS sale.
Here at Anglian Water, they do around 1,000 tests a day to make sure that the water we use passes all 55 legal quality standards. But there's something else we can all do to get the very best from our tap water. Something so simple, we do it without thinking before drinking milk or white wine or fruit juice. Just chill it in the fridge. And a couple of hours later, you'll have a cool, refreshing drink. For 500 times less than a litre of bottled water.
Now I can breathe, I can see, I can touch, I can feel, I can taste all the sugar sweetness in your kiss. You give me all the things I've ever missed. I've never found like this. I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive.
Laboratoire Garnier brings you a colourant that actually cares for your hair.
Movida!
Movida. Quick, just 15 minutes. No ammonia. Movida from Garnier enhances your natural colour with no visible regrowth at the roots.
Movida!
Movida Conditioning Cream, formulated and controlled by Laboratoire Garnier Paris.
Something really big is happening all over Britain. Guaranteed to bring you the biggest savings. MFI Homeworks brings you Britain's biggest bedroom sale with up to 50% off Britain's biggest range of master bedrooms, children's bedrooms, spare bedrooms, and pine bedrooms. So don't miss Britain's biggest bedroom sale. It's at MFI Homeworks. Starts Boxing Day.
When I tell people I'm part of the World Land Speed Crew, they get pretty excited. They ask like, are you the driver? Are you the designer? Are you the owner? I said, no, I'm the safety guy. I picked up the parachute after the run. They look a little disappointed and go, oh, that's pretty, great. And I say, nope, but the drive home is.
Welcome back to Castle Ashby House in Northamptonshire. These angels are marvellous, aren't they? They can be found in Lady Margaret's bower room, the oldest part of the house, dating back to 1574.
It's a fantastic room. Imagine it hasn't been decorated since then. And in fact, behind one of the panels is the secret room where one of the old earls used to hide his mistresses.
Ooh, are there any still up there?
I hope not. This is Barry Kerr, who comes from a local group who've revived the old medieval mummers' plays that used to be performed at about the same time that this room was built.
And before.
Yeah, well, so tell us a little bit about them, Barry.
It's all to do with the battle between good and evil, driving away the evil spirits of winter, bringing in the kinder ones of spring.
And you're going to be performing in Moulton on Boxing Day.
Yes, right in the middle of the village on Stocks Hill at 11 o'clock.
Lovely. Well, for a sneak preview, Sarah Yates caught up with the group earlier in the courtyard.
Make way for the Moulton mummers! Room, room, brave gallants all, we come to show a merry act this wonderful Christmas time!
I come from the heathen land to fight. I come to fight St. George, a man of courage bold. And if his blood runs hot, I'm sure to make it cold.
Step in, St. George!
They'd agree with me that it's an eccentric play dating back to the Middle Ages, and one which was still being performed in winter until the First World War. The battles of the mummers were just a memory until this band of men revived the ancient tradition using several different local plays.
We collected from 3 villages in this area, in the Northamptonshire area, and then we
got the words together, made a compilation of the words. That was 25 years ago, and it was watched by an old gentleman of the village who said that you're practising exactly where they used to practice before the First World War. So we feel as if we're carrying on the tradition of the village. Look!
Once the evil slasher has been slain, a bizarre medic is called in to revive him with all manner of tonics.
The pill is large, his mouth is small. Curses! We'll have to go in reverses.
Mumming has traditionally been in a noble cause, that of collecting money to pay for the actors' refreshments. Fundraising falls to dubious characters, including Johnny Jack, Beelzebub and a jester. And guess what they do when they're not mumming in winter? In summer, they're Morris dancers.
For we'll come no nigh you until the next year.
Of course, most of us won't be spending Christmas in this sort of splendour. Many people, in fact, will hardly get a break at all. John Anglia has been to meet some of those who will be working over Christmas at the Peterborough District Hospital.
What does Father Christmas look like? You don't know. Have you seen him yet? No? Does he have a big red suit on? Yeah? What else? A hat! A hat!
Of course, it's a hospital, but they won't let you forget it's still Christmas.
Cards!
At this time of year, children's wards everywhere are making a special effort for their young patients.
Generally, we tend to try and make things as light as possible on a ward and try and forget about the fact that it is actually a hospital ward. Because I do think that aids recovery. And again, at Christmas time, it's the same. That if you make things more pleasant for the children, then they, get better more quickly, definitely.
Does Father Christmas have a green beard? Yeah. Does he? Oh dear.
Tomorrow, as many of the children as possible will go home, but some will have to stay in hospital. For them, there'll be stockings, presents, a visit from Santa and a Christmas dinner.
It's very much of a party atmosphere. Everybody joins in. The staff will wear tinsel around their heads and, Fuzzy the Clown comes and makes balloon hats and silly things for all the children and the staff. So everybody joins in. It's great.
But home is the place to be at Christmas, and with luck, that's where they'll all be next year.
Well, Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without mince pies and Christmas pud. But not if you lived in the time of this man, Oliver Cromwell. All that carousing was far too decadent for his Puritan soul. So he made it illegal. Not anymore, of course, so for when you're feeling truly stuffed tomorrow, we've dredged up a few more indigestible facts about festive food.
Christmas pud has its roots in 1066 and all that. William the Conqueror's head chef is supposed to have invented it. French cuisine, you see. These days, top pud maker is Ted Frost. He's been making them at Lawrence's in Northampton for as long as he can remember.
Oh, it's mostly fruit, Of course, we have brown sugar like everything else. Suet, which is, you always put suet in pudding.
Christmas puds were first made of meat, but they've evolved since then, and so have the legends.
A bloke was saying to me, he said it's a Christmas cake that'd gone wrong, so they steamed it instead.
Trouble is, in Oliver Cromwell's day, people like Ted Frost would have been arrested. The Puritans really had a downer on Christmas and Christmas puds. They made the whole lot illegal.
It's said that back in 16-something, he was quoted as saying that no decent Christian should ever eat Christmas puddings. No, he said they were abominable and idolatrous things. Well, he never tasted the mixture, did he?
Get out!
The festivities associated with Christmas were actually abolished by the Long Parliament in 1644. Not because they were necessarily killjoys, but because these festivities were associated with paganism. They were pagan in origin. The idea was to get back to the fundamentals of Christianity.
Well, what do they know? Cromwell's mincemeat wasn't the yummy stuff that we have in mince pies today. It was rancid leftover meat which they mixed up with lots of spice to disguise the taste. And turkey...
Turkey? Do I hear right? Stuffed up with cloves? 'Tis only for the wealthy and great, and not for a free-born honest Englishman like myself, by my faith. I shall have me blackbirds baked in a pie, and me plum porridge as me grandfather did of old. That's good enough for I, says I.
We're in Oliver Cromwell's old house in Ely, so what better place could there be to eat Christmas pudding? He wouldn't have approved, but then things have changed since his time. I mean, you can eat mincemeat without the risk of food poisoning, and you can tuck into Christmas pudding without the fear of getting arrested.
What? What? Stop that, you rogue! Take him off! Take him off from the Parliament!
Well, here we are again in the Great Hall at Castle Ashby House. And this fine vaulted ceiling, by the way, dates back to 1770.
It's a magnificent room, and apparently the ghost in here used to play the harp. But we're joined tonight by the choir of All Saints Church from Northampton. They're regular visitors here, and they're going to sing us out with something suitably seasonal.
We'll be back after the Christmas break, but for now, from everyone on the Anglia News team, a very Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas. It's a shame we can't stay, really, isn't it?
I suppose we could get the crew to have a whip round.
No. Merry Christmas.
God rest you, merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. For Jesus Christ our Saviour was born on Christmas Day, to save us all from Satan's power when we were gone astray. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy.
From God our Heavenly Father, a blessed angel came, and unto certain shepherds brought tidings of the same, that in Bethlehem was born the Son of God by name. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy. Now to the Lord sing praises, all you within this place, and with true love and brotherhood each other now embrace. This holy tide of Christmas all others doth deface. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, and joy. Oh,
Good evening. Well, there won't be any snow this Christmas, but a good breeze to blow Santa.
Things nothing to do with landmines had to suddenly swat up on landmine issues and learn about the subject, get to know it and report it. And we saw the reporting of landmines in some of the most obscure journals in the world.
Earlier this month, she took her campaign to Bosnia, taking time to talk to those, many of them children, whose lives have been shattered by the war there. As always, focusing on the youngsters to help publicise the devastation mines have caused and the threat they still pose. The princess knew she'd be followed wherever she went, so she decided to turn that to the advantage of tens of thousands across the world who are in no position to help themselves. Steve Scott, ITN.
Our correspondent Harry Smith is at Buckingham Palace. Harry, as we said, the body of the princess is on its way back to Britain now. What information can you give us about the funeral arrangements?
Well, there's been no announcement as yet. I'm told that there might be an announcement later.